Um, a little more on my ongoing fascination with events in Iran. Um, I tend to watch the BBC because I think that, at least in the English-speaking media, their version is probably the best, as usual. Um, but one thing, a couple of thoughts have passed through my mind in all of this. The first is watching the riot police attacking the demonstrators, or just arresting them or clearing them up. Isn't it interesting how these Darth Vader-like riot police look so modern, even though, or modern, or at least ruthlessly modern, in a kind of cyberpunk way, even though they're enforcing a fairly reactionary and socially conservative type of a regime. Although, again, it's unclear as to what the protesters' position is. They support Musavi, but I think that it would sort of behoove us to perhaps try and understand what it is that they're trying to accomplish. The best that I can come up with is that most of them are pretty conservative Muslims themselves, the protesters. And maybe they just want to loosen things up, send Iran a little bit down the road, perhaps, of Turkey, which is still a very conservative country, as opposed to just dismantling the Islamic State completely. Maybe they just want to limit the power of the clerics. I don't really know, but it's something that has crossed my mind from time to time, and we're getting very little information out. Or we're getting very little information out from there. Another thing, again, looking back on things as I've seen them unfold in places like Tiananmen, in Romania when Ceausescu fell, Georgia, all these kinds of mass protests that were dealt with by various regimes. I wonder what at heart this really means to Iran. Because in places such as Georgia or the Czech Republic when the Iron Curtain came down, or the Philippines when Marcos came down, it was fairly obvious that the ruling group had outlived its welcome, and it just collapsed before the obvious demonstration of its own inadequacy. Tiananmen Square was different. The regime reasserted itself in a show of incredible brutality, because I think that the leadership got together and said, it's do or die now, so we'll send in the tanks, but what do we do next? We've got to make this a place where people feel less inclined to riot or to challenge us. So let's make sure that their basic needs are met, or that they are able to prosper. And this is the sort of the opium that has kept the West quiet and kept people off the streets, is general prosperity. Again, I don't really know what was discussed, but it looked to me as though they had at least some idea as to what to do after they cracked down hard. That coupled with the traditional Chinese fear of chaos. The Chinese know what chaos, anarchy, and civil war actually are. And maybe, just maybe, plenty of Chinese people, as they watched things develop in Tiananmen Square back then, saw this as a challenge to the authorities that would only end in things going back to the way they were before the communists imposed a new and durable, if brutal, regime. Now, the Iranians, too, know what a period of chaos is. They know what civil war is. I wonder what most Iranians inside of Iran, in as much as they're getting accurate information, and even in countries where the media is tightly controlled, word gets out. Again, I've been in one of the tightest dictatorships in the world. I've been to Burma, and everything gets discussed. Not as openly as one might think, but it's not as Orwellian as one might think as well. News travels fast. The rumor mill is something that no repressive apparatus can actually control. And the rumor mill, if you ask me, is probably running riot right now inside of Iran. I wouldn't be surprised if the people that are technically in charge of the country don't really know what's going on. So let's say that the Iranian government manages to impose its will once again on the streets of Iran. By all the commentators, it sort of seems to be the consensus that that's not likely to happen anytime soon. But what do most Iranians, seeing this happen, what's going on in their mind? They see people out in the streets. They see this challenge to authority. They've seen this before in 1979, but it must occur to some of them, where is this going? Even people that are truly opposed to the type of government that they have to live under. However bad a theocratic regime can be, things can be worse. So the jury is still out, and it's kind of fascinating to watch, although it must be terribly uncomfortable to be an Iranian right now, and my heart truly goes out to them, and I hope that everything works out for them. I hope that that Iran, whatever the future may hold for it, I hope that people wake up a year from now with a better Iran, regardless of how these things turn out. Even though the government may win this one, whatever that actually might mean, winning it, if they're even remotely intelligent, they know that there's things in Iranian society that simply have to be addressed. I hope that they're at least intelligent enough to draw that conclusion. If they're imperial stormtroopers on the motorcycles now knocking heads in the streets of Iran cities finally gain control of the situation. Thank you.